Okay, let's see if we can remember everything that happened in the last round. Green played themselves in kind of a blocking position around purple. They actually grabbed the lead of the purple province, but as you can see, purple now has more pieces. They defended their own position there. At this point, purple cannot lose first place here, but green could gain first place, in which case they'd both get 8 points. And green probably wants to do that. Yellow expanded up here in the hopes of creating a 4-link up here. They got cut off down here, didn't get to create it. What do we got? Blue. Blue placed a blocking piece here to prevent purple from creating another line. And they also put an emissary in there. Mainly a, well, if that's where I'm going to play, I might as well get 2 pieces played. That's generally a feeling here. Emissaries, as you can see, I have a very low opinion of their value. But you definitely do want to get your plays in place. You want to play 2 pieces if you can. Emissaries can generate you points. And once you start placing them, then it becomes easier to place more later. And then finally for red, they closed off the Shu province and scored 5 points all by themselves there. That shuts everybody else out of there. Had they not been able to get them all, had they only gotten 4 of them, somebody else could place in there and give 4 points to red's 5, which is always a bad situation. You don't want to have almost all of the houses in a province, because then the next guy gets almost as many points as you do. One thing to note real quickly, I exhausted the deck, which means we're at the halfway point here. That happened on red's turn, and the game is in the home stretch, sort of. You can see an interesting thing. None of the yellow territories have been opened up at all. This green territory is available. People can play in it pretty heavily. They can jump right in with 2 pieces. But it's kind of off to the edge and isn't terribly valuable to anyone but yellow. How much do the point scores matter at this point? That's hard to tell. It really is. That just means you've turned your houses into points already, which means the houses that you've got here. So is yellow in that great a position? Well, these houses aren't going to score them any other points, so half their plays on the board are expended at this point. What about red? Well, nearly all of red's are expended, although they will be getting 5 points for this string. That means they probably aren't going to try to expand into this yellow area, but are kind of free to play the board wherever they like at this point. Chances are, since they already have an emissary, they're going to start playing towards that. Green opened things up with a serious power play. They played 3 cards to get 2 plays, but they played first their fortification and then a house on top of it. That allowed them to get their 8 points for filling this out, doubled 16. Purple only got their 8, and you can see green's now well in the lead. A clever play like that can do you a lot of good, and that was purple playing defensively but not really thinking about the effect of the fortifications and how green could really score big off of that situation. The alternative, of course, is if purple hadn't played 2 pieces here but only had played 1, green could have played 2 green pieces, taking control of the area for 8, and denied purple some points. Overall, that would have been better for purple and certainly for everyone else, but sometimes it's hard to see things like that when you're in the heat of the play. What the hell did yellow do? I don't think yellow played much. I think they didn't stick in there. I'm not really sure what yellow did. I'm not seeing much there. I think they built something along here, but I'm not at all certain because it doesn't look very viable. Over on purple's side, they expanded themselves into here, and now they've got the lead up here. They've got their fortifications still to play, and it's getting to the point where you want to slap those down. Remember, you have to build them before you build the house on top of it. You got to be playing a two card play in the territory, and the colors are becoming more restrictive now, because you either need yellow, maybe orange, or green. Everything else is filled up for houses. You can't play a red or a purple at this point, right? And even some of these others, like orange, there doesn't look like there's a lot of room there for expansion for new players to go in. Yellow is still kind of buggered because nobody's played in here at all yet. Going over to blue, they filled up Han. You can see they're beginning to build up their emissaries. So right now, I don't think they get a score for this because red also jumped in there and scored away. That's not a terribly valuable thing, but that's what their cards kind of drove them to do. Now let me make sure that I understand how the scoring goes for alliances. You have to have a majority in the areas. In the event of a tie, both players have the majority. Okay, so actually blue would be able to score this, and this will be worth 3 points to them because they have 2 here and 1 here. This is the maximum number of emissaries there can be here because the top people only have 2 houses there. That's, you know, there's all these kind of tricky things that all kind of meld together. So over here, there can be 4 emissaries. So this can be very valuable for the emissary wars, and it's kind of strange nobody's playing in that. That's what the purple cards are useful for at this point, is playing emissaries into locations. Next time around we're seeing some interesting things, green pulling into here, but here's what's kind of cool. Yellow slapped down a double play here into Zhao. Now, they get 5 points for doing that because they get into first place by playing this. Instead, if they had played their fortification, which I seem to be... Oh, no, this isn't this. They played over here with the fortification into Yan. They got the 5 points for Zhao, but that's not their play. They played in here with the fortification because they think they're going to be able to score in first place there if they're not unlucky. Now, purple could certainly slap a couple of pieces down there, so it's not that guaranteed. On purple's side, they slapped in here rather than playing their fortification. Now, they could have played it here, conceivably. I don't know if the cards went with it. They got their 5 points, as did yellow. Blue got 2. Alternatively, if they had played somewhere else, maybe they could have scored, say if they had played their fortification here as well as a house, maybe they could have scored 2 points or 4 if the next player had two houses to them. But 5 was the best they could do, and they didn't use up their fortification for that. And that's kind of the problem, is the more I'm looking, the less likely this fortification is going to be a huge money maker. If you can get it on your long chain, or if you can do what green did in terms of getting it on a score where you get a big boost in points, it's great. But it's kind of tricky to get it into play that way. For blue, I think we saw the same kind of thing. I'm not sure. I'm looking for where it is. Yeah, here in Quy province, they scored that and got their 5 points, again, instead of using their fortification. Red is continuing to grow their emissaries. They're going to score a decent amount of points off them. Here they get 3, here they get 3, you know, and they may be getting more. And some of these can't be taken away, like this, they own that. This, they can't be beaten there. Someone else can slip in there. Presumably blue would be interested in getting the points for that. But there isn't enough room for someone to exceed their value there, which is a really sweet thing. So by playing there, you get points, but you also give red more points, right? So if blue plays here, they would be gaining 1, 2, 3, 4 points for it, but they'd also be handing an additional point to red, because red's right now has got 3, and they'd be giving an additional 1. Certainly worthwhile deal for blue, but it's something you got to keep in mind, is that when you do add emissaries to an area, if you're going to be splitting the area with someone, you may be giving them more points if they've got more things adjacent to that area. Okay, we're down to 1 card left after this round, which means this next round is the very last round. Once that card gets pulled out, everybody gets to go, and there's no real reason to replenish cards. So none of this really matters at this point. Okay, what do we got for green? Damned if I know. It looks like they filled this out and scored it, which gave a big advantage to yellow. And you can see, actually, green wasn't far ahead of yellow at after that play, but they managed to score some more points. Over on the yellow turn, it looks to me like they didn't have a very good play. They threw an emissary down. They're hoping to be able to score that off something. But it's going to be tough. They can't play in here. They can't play in here. So that emissary is just dead. It's just causing problems for other people in terms of not being able to play. That wasn't filled out, though, at the beginning of this turn. Red ended up playing into there. Over on purple, they started playing emissaries, and then blue did as well. This is filled up Chu now. Purple's hoping to score some of these. This is worth a big 4 points. They've got to get connected to it. Either over here in Shu or Lu, or, well, Qin doesn't have anything in it yet. And it's kind of funny because it's really almost not worth breaking into. The guy who breaks into it gets 1 piece. If nobody else goes there, in the unlikely event of that, he gets 1 point. If somebody else goes there with 2 pieces, he gets 2 points. Chances are you can make more off the emissaries at this point as the field's becoming developed, or you can maybe deny someone else points off emissaries. Over to red to finish things off, we can see they filled out their emissaries, and they're in last place down here, but they've got some nice factors. They've got a big point score. They've still got their fortification, which is not going to help them, it looks like. The only thing they could do with it is maybe get into Qin, and instead of scoring a 5 this way, they would 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 this way and double it to 10. That would be nice, but somebody's got to enter Qin for them to get that bonus, and that's really the problem. They're the only person who has a real interest of going in there, and they only want to go in there if they can get 2 pieces in there. So they're probably going to continue playing emissaries as well. All right, we'll finish it up and see what the board looks like at the end. Okay, there's our final board position. What did green do? Green played an emissary in here to kind of block people from scoring the big points off here. That was kind of dicky of them. They didn't have anything terribly good they could do except maybe open up Qin. Now, yellow and purple decided to open it up, but they blocked red's entrance in there, so red can't really use that fortification for good points. They're going to each get 2 points for this, which is kind of sweet. And in fact, that gets scored right now because we're at the end of the gameplay. So each of them is going to get 2. Blue... they put an emissary in. They put an emissary in here. Interesting situation. You'd think, well, they're helping red. Maybe no, because now they outnumber red. So now the red one is just helping them, and they've cut a lot of points off red by doing this. Now, red probably wasn't going to win, but that's okay. It's always good to be dicky. And then for red's turn, they slipped in here where they'll score some big points over on Yan province. But the last turn was really kind of a defensive thing. This is still here. It would have gotten swept up. Everything, you know, the cards don't matter anymore there. And I can clean them up. Now it's time to score. And the first thing we score is the emissaries, I believe. Or do we score city roads first? We score the emissaries first. I've already explained how to do this, but let's see a little bit in practice, and then I'll come back with the score. So the first one goes over here. The emperor goes there to indicate who's going to be getting that. And now we worry about it. There's 2 reds here, a red and a yellow here. Red has the majority in both of these. Yellow only has in 1. So red's going to score the points. It's worth 4 points. There's no special bonuses. So that's that. Now we jump over to 2. Red has the majority in both of them. They score 4 points. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so on. I'll come back, because now we're jumping over here, after I've scored all the emissaries that are happening. This one's not going to score because blue has the majority here, purple has the majority here. They're not sharing something. Purple will get a score over on this one, though. There was a nice little horse race with these, and you can see blue and red have really caught up a lot of ground because of their emissaries there. They're still not up there with the green and purple, but now we get to see about scoring roads. I'm going to do these in color order. Green's got the first. We're looking for a road for them, and we don't have anything of sufficient length for them to count. Yellow also is too fragmented to get any roads. Over to purple. Purple has 1, 2, 3, 4. Just 1 road. I like the horse race aspect where you keep passing another person. We really saw that here with red jumping way ahead and then blue sliding ahead of them. Okay, so that's purple's only road. They had no fortifications there. Over to blue. Blue has one road. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, the roads aren't going to give you the points to win the game here. And red has a 5-point road. Too bad they don't have a fortification in there. 1, 2. That was probably a mistake. And there's our final placement. I thought green had this sucker, but purple managed to slip ahead with some of their defensive plays that kind of boned other people maybe. I don't know. This was preventing red more than anything else, or blue, really blue, from scoring a lot of points. But what if blue had scored, say, 6 more points? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They'd be in the competition there. Now, they couldn't have gotten 6 points without giving up some points that they got somewhere. I'm not sure quite what those points were. I'm looking for it. May have been the closeout here, which really was just denying points from red, but they would have made less overall. They would have made more than they did, but not as many, not that 6 more than they did. So that's our final positioning there. A lot of intricate choices in this game. I think if you really weighed them out and played them, you know, thinking really hard, this game would really suck. A game of this with AP would be horrible, but a game of this without is kind of a fun light filler. I'll come back with a review of it.